line. Tom Rice saw it coming, trying to get even with a toe hold here. And Don Arnold says, come on, let's break it up once again, fellas. So they're going to. Wait a minute. Toe holds all over the place, and we got a mad man in there once again. That boy, Tom Rice, had those fists ready to fly, despite the fact he's up against a 275-pounder. Body locks him now. Tom Rice with a hold here on Lord Layton. And moving up, trying to get up onto the chin, which gives added leverage as far as this hold is concerned, keeps the other boy off balance. But you notice Lord Layton very smartly turned in the hole there just as Rice relaxed, and he got himself out of trouble. Matter of fact, here's his counter hold. A nice key lock, top wrist lock. Did you notice how quickly Lord Layton, who's not noted for speed, put it on? There's Rice with that maneuver once again, where he puts on the leg scissors. Driving in there on what is actually a leg dive, but he turns it into a leg scissors. A maneuver that you very seldom see any wrestler use. Here's the break, and here we are at the center of the ring once again, and Don Arnold says, I think it's about time I took over and got a little workout here. Let's see which one of these opponents he's going to pick. It looks like it's going to be Tom Rice that he wants to work with. No, Lord Layton decides he'll stay in the ring, and he'll work out against Don Arnold. And at least they're off to a happy start. Tom Rice, now that he's the unofficial referee in here, gives quite a lecture to the boys. Of course, he's pretty good at talking with his wrestling, whatever he's doing. Into the referee's hold, and on the ropes and off balance. And Tom Rice orders the break, which they do. And a little conversation developed there between Rice and Lord Layton about that. Started moving, and Layton beautifully faking that time, got himself a wrist lock, and with his longer reach, it's pretty tough for Don Arnold to use anything except that knee, which he did nicely there to break the hold. Now watch once again. You know, Don Arnold was a weightlifting champion. And he's, of course, got plenty of weight to lift here at a 275-pounder, but he's got a nice body lock going, and he does lift him. Look at that. Picks that man right up off the canvas. Here's the break in the corner. Wait a minute. Now Lord Layton's unhappy about something. Chopped away at the throat, and Tom Rice. And this is a strange role for him, trying to keep things quiet in the ring here at the moment. In moves Lord Layton. He's faking beautifully to notice and getting that wrist lock. Now a top wrist lock, a leg trip for a takedown into the short arm scissors. Faster than we can tell you about it. And here's Don Arnold somersaulting backwards beautifully to come up out of the hold and get himself out of trouble. Now there was a very excellent wrestling maneuver by both the boys. Lord Layton with a series of maneuvers, putting on a series of holds. Don Arnold getting out. He's trying for the abdominal stretch. He's got to lift that right arm up behind his head to get the full pressure on. This is a hold from which practically no man can get out. But Lord Layton is walking away and apparently getting out of the hold as Tom Rice looks at it and seems to be surprised that anybody can get away from it. A nice drop behind, and Lord Layton comes up with a double toe hold, and hibbity hop, here goes Don Arnold hopping his way out of trouble like a bunny rabbit. In the center of the ring, and into that referee's hold again, and this time it's Don Arnold with the wrist lock, and watch now as he bars on the arm, pulls up on the wrist, this puts pressure at the shoulder and the elbow, and the break is ordered by Tom Rice. He had the hold, and he had it pretty well demonstrated there, says Tom Rice, so we'll break this time. They move back once again, and Layton trying for a go-behind, Arnold trying for a go-behind, nobody can get behind, and around in circles we go, and then they break. Ready once again? Who's going to get the hold? There's Layton, faking as he's been doing so well in this particular workout. He has his step-over toe hold. He's reversed it, and Don Arnold is trying to push this 275-pounder off. That's pretty tough to do, and it looks like there's the bell. So it's all over here for the moment, and a friendly handshake between the two boys after some rather exciting action out there in the ring. Arnold walks across. Layton's leaving. We'll have more excitement for you coming up. Now again, thanks to our All-American Sports Network, here are more newsreels of actual wrestling matches. And in this one, you're going to see some of the boys you've just watched in the wrestling workout. So stand by, because here comes the excitement for you once again. Let's see who it's going to be. Well, it's Tom Rice in there, and it is going to be a match between he and Saunders Zabo. And we have the famous Pappy Boynton, the World War II flying ace from the Marine Corps, serving as the referee for this particular match. Here's a nice short arm scissors put on by Tom Rice. He's got a very punishing hold in there. And it looks like Zabo is going to have trouble getting out of that one. Trying to work his way out of it. This is a hold, of course, that puts pressure on that arm. And as a matter of fact, if you can keep it long enough, you can render an opponent's arm so numb he can't use it for a matter of several minutes. But as you notice, Zabo came up, holding onto the leg, and tried to pin Rice. It hasn't worked. And Zabo is beginning to worry about that hand. You can notice it's turning a little bit white because the circulation is cut off for this particular hold. Gets Rice off balance. Now watch his counter move as he slaps at that hand to try to restore the circulation. We'll see more of Rice in another moment. workout's ready to resume. Tom Rice is in the ring here. And we have Lea Leilani in there as the referee. Rice is going to meet a boy he hasn't gotten along with before named Joe Blanchard, who's out here in Hollywood from the Midwest. A newcomer out here, but a very promising wrestler, but a hot-tempered one at the same time. And he leg snatches, and Rice went down with a thud. And a step-over toe hold, and Blanchard breaks at the suggestion of Lea Leilani, who, of course, is the famous Hawaiian wrestler, former professional football player. Rice wants to know how come I got lifted so high and dropped so hard on that canvas. Into that referee's hold once again, and Rice takes the top headlock, grabs an arm also, and he's lifting up on it, and this puts a lot of pressure, and this is one that hurts. And Lea Leilani decides it's enough, as there is a takedown there. And the break is ordered. Leilani, you notice, is in his bare feet. He always wrestles that way. And I hope we'll have a chance to see him in action, too. Nice dive and a roll-up leg scissors by Joe Blanchard. Works it very rapidly. Look out. Tom Rice comes over the top side. This really shouldn't have happened. Leilani had ordered the break. They were a little slow about getting up, and so Blanchard is going to lift Tom Rice and put him outside the ring. And wait a minute, the fist may fly here. Leilani says, come on, let's just take it easy for the moment, boys. Back to the wrestling, and let's see how long it'll last before something else happens between these two. Here's a body lock put on by Tom Rice. Joe Blanchard feels the pressure from that. Slips an arm in there. He's going to try to get the other one in, I do believe, to try to break that. No, he hip blocks beautifully. Look at that as he snapped Tom Rice right over on his back. Rice tugging on hair, which just shouldn't be done, trying to spoil things. And the break in the meantime, Leilani orders that so they can get up and try a few more tactics. Uh-oh, that hurt a little bit. That hip block wasn't so good. Tom Rice has been landing on that canvas with some resounding thuds here. There in the referee's hold once again. Maneuvering for position, and there is Rice diving in with that leg scissors of his, which he does so well. It continually seems to fool the other wrestlers. They just can't keep their legs out of that one. Rice takes a headlock on top of everything else and begins to put the pressure on all the way up and down here. So there's the break. Watch it. Let's see if they get away. They do. And every time Tom Rice breaks clean, he thinks it's a major accomplishment and wants all the fans to know about it. Side headlock put on now by Joe Blanchard. Tom Rice reaching for the hair, reaching for anything to try to get himself out of this hold. Comes up with a body lock, now goes out on the arm to try to break the pressure of that side headlock. And look how Joe Blanchard is rearing back with that. And then the hold is broken, and he's taken down with Tom Rice, going on top, taking a wrist lock. Blanchard comes out of it. He's topside. And we've seen some pretty fast maneuvering in here by a couple more of these wrestlers during our wrestling workouts. Blanchard just leans in there once again. Wait, look out there. Boys can lose their tempers faster than I can tell you about it here, particularly when we have Tom Rice and Joe Blanchard against each other. Now, here's a lecture from Tom Rice, and Blanchard indicates he'd just as soon go on with the wrestling no matter whether it's rough or tough or scientific or whatever it is. Here he goes for a cradle hold. Joe Blanchard has a cradle hold, but he hasn't actually taken Tom Rice down with it as yet. Rice is trying to maintain his balance. Blanchard can't quite figure how to get him off balance, and instead, look at Tom Rice with a nice maneuver there. Put some pressure on Blanchard's left leg, took him down. So Joe Blanchard ready to move, comes in at Tom Rice into that referee's hold here once again. Top headlock now put on, and a takedown. Nice rolling takedown that time by Tom Rice. Caught a leg and the head at the same time, and he has them all locked up here, and they break on the command of the referee. Set move into the referee's hold, and Tom Rice. Nice top wrist lock. He has not key locked it as yet, but he's got it up there pretty well. And he may be pulling hair, but Joe Blanchard spoils things for him and gets him off balance. And now has a chance for a possible reverse full Nelson. He's not going for that. He's keeping half Nelson, taking now a wrist lock into a hammer lock and then breaking the hold. So back to the center of the ring. And Tom Rice has got shoelace trouble over here, so we hold up things for just a moment while he gets the shoelace tied once again. Now the action resumes. Tom Rice takes top headlock, pulls down on it, and takes down Joe Blanchard. And now has a half Nelson here, then moves behind for a body lock. Lost it. Joe Blanchard a little too fast for him on that one. Got away and almost got his own body lock. He hasn't gotten it locked up tight here yet, but he's working toward that. Watch Tom Rice with his counter move now as he tries some maneuver. It's a wrist lock. Arm bar. The bell has called for the end of the action. Nobody wants to quit. Then Rice finally decides he's had enough, I think, of a young fellow by the name of Joe Blanchard. So it's all over, at least for the moment. Here comes a handshake, a pretty friendly one, a pat on the back.